Back here on the sidelines, and we are almost at the end here, folks. We are almost right. We're about to have our 48 teams, and unfortunately, we're in extra time. As always on the sideline, and you have to expect the unexpected. Sometimes you even have to go to penalty kicks. But we already have a couple of our final two, six. We have Turkey and Sweden have grabbed their slots. Aarij, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm just putting myself in the shoes of the teams that are being eliminated tonight. Um, to come this close, uh, as a team, as a federation, as a fan base that is looking not just forward to the World Cup this summer, but the opportunity to participate in a celebration of humanity and life at a time when it's so badly needed. It's going to sting. It's going to hurt. Um, but I think, look, the reality is that I think this expanded format is here to stay. I think the World Cup is probably at the right size in terms of representation across the continents now. Um, it will always be competitive. Obviously, there's no
Yeah.
shortcuts to that. But, I think there will always be future opportunities for all of these countries. Um, it's, yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
know
going
it's
to be
going to hurt.
interesting
I know
to
it's
see
going to
who
hurt.
gets left out at the end.
Yeah, I know it's going to hurt, but I'm a glass half full type of guy. 211 football federations vie for a shot, right? And I believe that in life sometimes you're just asking for a shot, and even though you may not necessarily win win that shot, you should celebrate that journey and the opportunity to do that,
Oh, 100%,
and that's
100%.
the real essence of
And I
sport.
think some of the values, we just had a guest on from Cabo Verde talking about what his country and federation and players represent. I think it's these tougher times that really test those values and are an opportunity to shine through. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of class in the coming hours in terms of some of the statements coming out from teams that were successful but also not successful this time around. But like I said, there will be second chances. Marlon, while we wait for those final results, I wanted to just do a quick health check on how things are going in the U.S. as a host country.
Yeah,
Um, and, given that, of course, the bulk of the matches are in the U.S. continues to dominate World Cup headlines in sporting press. So if I can just kind of kick it off,
yeah,
from
I
your
think,
vantage point,
yeah.
um, what aspects of the U.S. preparations are going better than had been going in the past? Some of the hurdles and challenges that we discussed, and where do you think the U.S. is now ahead in terms of exceeding expectations?
Yeah, I think the logistically, um, things are going swimmingly well. The stadium preparation, the preparation of the fields, the training facilities, the logistical stuff. Infrastructure is world class. Okay.
Mm.
However, we can't ignore there are geopolitical pressures that are imposing itself on this World Cup. Not that the World Cup hasn't dealt with geopolitical uh,
Sure. Yeah.
influences in the past, but this one feels different, seems different, and it's also actually is different. And
Mm.
it's really going to test the resilience of an organization like FIFA, and it's also going to test the resilience of the fan base as to what is really important. Is it football or politics, right? And I'm here to tell you, as someone who watched his first World Cup, my first World Cup was 1982. Um, Football is very resilient. There's something about the sport that transcends earthquakes and hurricanes and wars and political differences that to me I really treasure. And I think that's going to come through as we get closer to the tournament. And with that in mind, the rules still remain, as we've discussed here in this program over 6, 7, 8 episodes. You got to prepare, you got to plan, apply for your visa if you qualify. Make sure you have your accommodations, get to know your host cities, call a friend to call a friend. pursue those tickets. I think the whole dynamic ticket pricing that is in this tournament will settle down and will settle in. People will be able to find tickets. Certain games, maybe not so much, but I think folks will be able to access this tournament. And I think the Fan Fest as well. All those plans are going very well here in Miami. Those plans are already in place. We just finished hosting in the last few weeks the Ultra Music Festival, which is a large music festival in Miami, and that venue is now being turned around for the Fan Fest in downtown Miami, where the public can really enjoy the beauty of this game.
So where do you think those challenges still remain? Is it the immigration stuff we've discussed in the past and also just now with Paulo? Is it security? Is it sort of the coordination between different levels of government? Is it the relationship between the three host countries? Like, where do you think the real focus needs to be to get this really now into a mode where things go smoothly?
I think security is at the top, and even without a big tournament like the World Cup, whatever is happening in your world, in your city, Toronto, Vancouver, Seattle, Houston, San Francisco, I don't care where you are. Everyone wants to feel safe. Everyone wants to enjoy time with their families and to have fun. Everyone wants an opportunity for their business to be prosperous and looking for the next contract and to grow. So you can't have any of those things without security. So we may talk about it at the extreme, in and around like a team like Iran or other teams that have high security issues at this time. But at the end of the day, even without a global conflict or a regional conflict, security has to be tantamount. So this is a level 1 event at the highest level, federal, state, county, city, all hands on deck, and also the citizens making sure that everyone feels welcome. And the immigration issues, to be quite honest with you, Aarij, is really more noise and bluster than actually in reality. The law really hasn't changed. You want to come to the United States and visit, you need a non-immigrant visa. FIFA has created a FIFA pass for you to expedite your appointment. There may be certain countries that will be lacking with their fans, but like our good friends from Cape Verde said, they have over 1.1 million Cape Verdeans in the United States. The Haitian community, they're well over 3-4 million persons of Americans of Haitian descent in the United States, and also a couple 100,000 in Canada. So they won't be short of fans. So those countries will be a little bit challenged that are on the immigration list for the United States. But there's still a lot of room to enjoy the tournament. But security is definitely number one.
No, point taken. You're probably right. Look, I mean, rules are rules. Visas have always been required of certain nationalities, but there are still some moving pieces here, right? So, for example, because of the geopolitics, the price of gas, the fuel surcharges of flights have gone up, and so less media now, but more fan chatter.
Yeah.
Concerns about rising prices with travel in particular, but the cost of buying even in services now in terms of hotel space. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if you're seeing yet. Maybe it's too early to see whether that's being addressed. But do you see that impacting travel, demand, movement during the tournament, attendance? Like, what's your gut there?
Ultimately, it will. Right, but again, when it comes to football and the fan that wants to support their country, whether they be Colombian or they're South African or Jordanian or from Uzbekistan or debutant countries, folks are going to find a way. They're going to find a way. It may be a little bit painful on the treasury and the bank account, but they're going to find a way. And unfortunately, even though the economy is going to be impacted, the World Cup always seems to fight through it. I really believe that, and things change dynamically every single day as we approach the tournament kickoff on June 11th. But those economic pressures are going to be there. My advice to the fan or to the business owner or to the executive in the federation or the person has high anxiety is to control the things you can control.
I think that's sound advice, and you are 100% right. You are a glass half full, possibly glass full kind of person. But yeah, look, I mean, often all we can use is the bellwether is what we've seen in the past. And everything you've said is right. The World Cup does shine through a lot of these challenges that we identify. As lawyers, we love to focus on the problems. The press obviously sells. The more negative a story, the more it sells. But ultimately, we've seen, whether it's South Africa, whether it's Russia, whether it's Qatar, whether it's past tournaments, I think everything we've discussed over the last 7 episodes, there are more positive memories than negative when it comes to the World Cup.
Let me say this before, as we approach a real important period before the tournament, it's still very important for us as citizens, as global citizens, to let our elected officials know and our politicians know what we want and what we want in this world. There's still a moment where we can still put pressures and to make the phone call to your congressional representative or your parliamentary representative, and to let them know that we want peace, we want love, we want football. We don't want to be in a world of conflict. And in fact, when the tournament starts, everything else is going to stop. Watch. Everything else is going to pause.
Yeah, and I hope you're right, Marlon. Because like I said, for me, as a fan, this is supposed to be and has always been a celebration of life. It's been a celebration of humanity, of bringing together people and cultures and ideas and exchanges. I mean, I'm still part of WhatsApp groups with Peruvian fans that I met at a restaurant in 2018 in St. Petersburg. It's crazy, right? And we converse in different languages, but we share birthday pictures of grandkids and, family members. And that is what the World Cup is about. And like I keep saying, that is what you ultimately want to shine through all of this. So Marlon, before we unveil and announce the UEFA results, one final question from you from a U.S. perspective. It's not lost on me that Alina talked about not necessarily a surprise, but just having to realize the scale of the surmountable but nonetheless obvious challenges, requirements, boxes that needed to be ticked in the relationship between the host cities and FIFA. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? Do you think that the alignment, city level, state level, host country level, and finally FIFA level, do you think it's where it should be in the United States 70 days out? Or do you think that there's going to have to be kind of band-aids and emergency procedures put in place to get this across the line?
Football is shaped by culture, and culture is shaped by football as a phenomenon. And so United States is going through that growth process of adopting football, soccer, as a part of its culture, like any other nation. And there's some countries where football is part of the DNA blood cells of the people for many generations. And to just be honest, it's just not there yet in the United States. It's one of the reasons why FIFA is here as an organization, because it's one of the last many countries in the world where the sport has so much room to grow. It's one of the reasons why they moved their legal and compliance office here to Miami. It's a reason why Barcelona has opened offices in Miami, and the Brazilian Football Federation has done the same, because they see the sport growing among young people across the United States of America, one of the largest, if not the largest economy in the world. And so that's what's happening in front of us, building the plane as they're flying it, as it relates to the sport being a part of the cultural bloodline of the country.
Coming to the results, Marlon. Are you ready?
Who do we have?
All right. So the UEFA playoff path has just wrapped up. with 2 penalty shootouts having been completed. The final UEFA qualifiers have punched their tickets to 2026. So, you want to do the drum roll? We've got some upsets. The Czech Republic has upseeded Denmark. Denmark will sit out of this World Cup.
No Danishes for you.
The Turkish team, first time since 2002, will be returning to the World Cup. They nipped Kosovo 1-0.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. We remember Turkey's run in Japan, Korea. 3rd place, podium finish, as Morocco did in 22. Sweden beat Poland 3-2.
Swedish meatballs.
With their, I mean, what a legacy. Some of the greatest players in World Cup history have hailed from that nation. And finally, the shock of the hour. Bosnia beats Italy 4-1 on penalties and extends, as my friends from Russia said today, the curse continues for the Italians. Bosnia will now play Canada in the World Cup opener in Toronto at Toronto Stadium.
Come on, Pope Francis. Come on, Pope Francis.
That's your reaction? You're just shaking your head, huh?
Pope Francis, come on, man. Mama mia.
Marlon, you got to give me some credit. I called it.
You did. You did.
I called it.
You did.
So now you tell me, just given raw reaction, what I've given you, how do you see these 4 results reshaping expectations of the group stages?
I think that's very disappointing for the Italians. I'm sure that the millions of Italian Americans and Italian Canadians and maybe a few Italian Mexicans are sobbing right now. But cheers to Bosnia. Turkey, the sport is growing in Turkey exponentially. Mm-hmm. Very passionate fans. Look for them to be a disruptive team. You can't expect. The Czechs, can't count them out. They've always been historically very strong in the Euros. I'm not surprised there. The Danes have been fledgling a little bit through the Euro tournament. And last but not least, who do we have?
Sweden,
Turkey,
and Czechia.
Yeah. I think that those two. I don't know much about the Bosnian team. I need to do a little bit more research. But certainly.
Here's what I can tell you: the little that I know, they're gritty, man. They're gritty. They're not easy to beat. It's one of those teams, right, that going into a World Cup, they may not score a lot of goals, but boy, are they tough to get past. And those are tricky matches in a group stage.
Yeah. Well, listen. We have the final 4 from Europe, and we wait for. We will definitely look forward to sharing with you and speaking with you about the final 2 from the Interconfederation. And we are certainly great to have you here on Sideline Conversations for a very special double playoff episode. Less than 70 plus days to the tournament, historic tournament in North America, Canada, United States, and Mexico. Great to have you here on the Sideline Conversations. Make sure you drop us a comment, send us a note. Look forward to talking with you again soon as we approach more legal and business issues in and around the beautiful game and the 2026 World Cup.